Hey guys, it's Purple Ferret here, and welcome back to another speed draw. This is one of the few times that I would recommend going to watch another video of mine before you finish watching this one, because this one is going to be a very direct continuation of what I discussed in the last one, and you might be a little bit confused if you don't watch that one. You're welcome to stay if you don't care. But I'm going to be talking about this character and her story. And I talked a whole lot about world building and the other character that's involved in this, and also the character on the right, which is not her actually. It's Dead, which she's possessing. I mentioned that in the video that I just uploaded yesterday, actually, as I'm recording this, which will be 4 weeks ago for you all, and it will be 2 weeks ago for the last video where I did mention her a little bit more in depth and less in passing. She was a lot more relevant to the last video than the one before it, and she's still relevant in this one, just slightly less. Her name is Madeline, and if you watched the last video, you'll know that she had a family curse, which is why she died so young. Her family's curse was essentially like an illness, and Mistletoe was able to sense her impending doom. She was going around looking for a permanent vessel to possess, and the way that possession works is you want a dead vessel and not a living vessel. If there's a spirit within the body, the spirit will fight back and it will create friction, and that will damage the body. If there is no soul in the body and it's like a freshly dead body, then a demon can kind of heal the damage that caused the death and keep living in the body. But it's not going to be an unnoticeable change because they're coming back from death. So hair and eye color will change. If you notice, Madeline's hair was red and her eyes were brown. But when Mistletoe is possessing her body, the hair is white and her eyes are gray. Now, I may have drawn her with half her face being demonic twice now, but I intentionally switched which side of the face it was on because it's not a permanent addition. She will look human most of the time. I just feel like it was important to indicate that she was not entirely human whenever I'm depicting her in a scenario that's not a scene. Like the one I drew of Ice last time, his was very much a real scene. There was background. It was representing a real moment that happens in the story. But here, it's not a physical scene in any way. The only one that's like remotely real is the middle one, because Madeline's not there anymore. She is not in her regular demon form because she's possessing a dead body. So both Madeline and her true demon form cannot be in the same space. So they are not real. Just a random fun fact that I just remembered. I used to draw the demon Mistletoe with a nose, and then one day I just drew her without it. And I was like, why did I ever draw you with a nose? You look better without one. So she doesn't have a nose in her demon form because I thought it was better. This is also just a byproduct of my previous art style whenever I first drew her. I used to not draw visible eyebrows. I used to kind of take the My Little Pony approach where they don't have real eyebrows except for when they're emoting. And I decided that it made more sense later to have eyebrows because technically you are always emoting. It's just a neutral emotion has less extreme eyebrows, and eyebrows appearing out of nowhere are a little jarring. For example, if this were to be translated to 3D. So I decided they should have eyebrows, but I didn't give her demon form eyebrows because I feel like it makes her look less human because we associate having eyebrows as being really normal. So her not having them disrupts the human feel of her design and makes her look even more otherworldly and a little scary. She can emote with, like, she has brow muscles still. She doesn't have eyebrows. I just thought it'd be a little creepier if she didn't have eyebrows. She can still emote like she has eyebrows, though. Now to get into the actual story and not just base information about character design. After Mistletoe possesses Madeline's body and her hair and eyes change color, she gets out of bed and starts, walking around. He's grieving, so momentarily he's like, Maddie, what? And then he goes, oh, wait a minute, realizing, hey, she's possessed, and is demanding that Mistletoe stop possessing her because that's someone he cares about and he doesn't want her corpse to be taken and used by another being. She manages to get outside and she's barefoot and running through snow, and Ice can fly, so he catches up and confronts her and says basically, give her body back now. And based on the fact that he is mainly just standing in her way and specifically mentions the safety of her body in regards to, hey, it's snowy out, you're gonna freeze her toes off if you keep doing this. Just that distinction to her tells her he's not going to hurt her, even though he wants the safe return of Madeline's body. Missy's like, yo, she's done using it, so it's mine now. You're not getting it back because I spent a long time searching out a decent vessel that I could live in, and then the first one I find, you tell me I can't have it. So Ice realizes she's not going to give up Madeline's body, and he knows that he could technically just wait for her to freeze her toes off, and then she wouldn't be able to really walk, and she would eventually abandon her body. But he also realizes that he doesn't want Madeline's body to be put through that, so he decides to make a deal with her. He tells her that she can stay in Madeline's body temporarily, but she has to be with him until she leaves, and so that he can retrieve Madeline's body when she does leave, and has the caveat that she does have to leave. Like, she can't just stay because she wants to. So he says he will help her find another body to inhabit if she promises to stay with him so that he can keep an eye on her. And Missy doesn't really have any other options here because she is possessing the dead body of a 14-year-old girl. 14-year-old girls can't really do much on their own, so even temporarily, she's gonna need his help. And she's not really entirely sold on the whole he'll find me a body thing and I'll leave when that happens, because she's all like, there's no way he's gonna find a vessel that I'm going to be happy with, so I'm just gonna be intentionally picky and then I can stay forever. She agrees to his terms verbally, not necessarily actually, and he carries her back to the house because he doesn't want her freezing Madeline's toes off. They kind of start cohabitating as demon-possessing beloved family member and familiar that wants to protect the corpse of the dead family member. Now, I haven't fully written everything down, so I'm not sure exactly what happens in between things, but eventually Ice gets to a point where, as an extension of caring about Madeline's body's well-being and protecting her, he gets protective of Mistletoe herself and starts wording things. Instead of saying things like Madeline's body could have been damaged, he says things like you could have been hurt, and starts caring about her well-being, and they do become friends. They kind of put the whole finding another vessel on the back burner because they're really just vibing at that point. I really like this story, although it's very incomplete. I'm gonna keep working on it. I've been working on it for years. It was its own thing, and then I brought it in to interact with that one story that I haven't really said much about with the demon roommate. And overall, it kind of functions as a backstory for why she exists in that story the way she does. Right now, it's not always going to be like that. It might sort of still function like that, but that's the story's primary function at this current moment in time. In any case, I hope you enjoyed this story as much as I do, even though there's not a whole lot here. It's mainly just the premise and a little spoilers for what happens later. If you missed the last one where I explained how familiars work, you should probably go watch it. Some of the info got repeated here, but the whole familiar thing is fully explained there and not here, so if you haven't, you should go watch it. I talked a little over into the reveal, but I think that's okay. I really like how this one turned out. The sketch had me a little worried in the coloring of it, like the overlay I did. I really liked the sketch, but I really like how it turned out after I finished it. I feel like I struck a balance in the way I colored it and stuff, especially with the two different colors of shading depending on the light source. I also think I narrowed down the shapes of the hair and facial features a little better in the final versus the sketch. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video and that you will return to watch the next one and or watch previous ones, especially the last one since it's directly relevant to this one. This is probably the last drawing I'm going to do for this story for the time being, so you're going to have a break from having to watch multiple in a row to understand things, unless I do the same thing with a different story. Anyway, I hope to see you in the next one. Bye!